I was actually trying to create vaccines. COVID ने मेरा नाम और बढ़ा दिया है, but ठीक है. So I was creating anti-cancer vaccines there. And to be very honest, there is, if anyone has taken Excel का interview, there is Dr. Abhijit, who is known to take very, very, if I say, candid interviews. And तब उन्होंने मुझे पूछा कि MBA करके करोगे क्या? तो मेरा again my thought process was so limited. मैं कहा अपनी lab का manager बनूंगा. So I had a friend who was running a startup, kind of a startup in social sector in Bihar. So I quit Deloitte and went to Bihar and joined that friend. और मैं पेड़ लगा रहा था गांव वालों के साथ मिलके, मुखिया and BDOs and all of those लोगों के साथ.
And now we're going to talk to a founder. So he runs a startup called 4baseCare. He's a XLRI Jamshedpur alumnus, done a bunch of things before, he settled on this particular, medical technology startup. And he has a lot of life experiences to share. A story that does not necessarily only involve, things always moving smoothly. I think for a lot of us, life is not that linear. So really, really happy to invite, Kshitij Datta Rishi on stage. Welcome, KDR. Have a seat.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, so you are also an engineer, and obviously we knew it when we were coming to Bangalore. के यहाँ पे तो हम सब engineers को ही मिलने वाले हैं. Although you are not an engineer from down south, so you did your engineering from Punjab University. So how did that career decision come about? Why did you do engineering?
At least in our times, we had only two options: engineering कर लो या medical कर लो. Medical में लंबी पढ़ाई करनी पड़ेगी, not possible. Engineering करते हैं, easily jobs मिल जाती हैं.
मतलब commerce students और art students तो exist ही नहीं करते.
Exactly. उस समय schools were chosen based on कहाँ जाए, क्या करेगा. I mean, there were two convent schools, Saint Xavier's and Saint Joseph's. जोसेफ्स वाले इंजीनियरिंग करते हैं, जेवियर वाले मेडिकल जाते हैं, इसको जोसेफ में डाल दो. सो ऐसे डिसीजंस होते थे. So engineering, how did it come up? Yeah, engineering was clear, but the twist was I did a biotechnology engineering, which again, when I was taking my exams, result I got options for IT, electronics and biotech. And supposedly उस समय people were saying biotech boom आने वाला है, IT boom आ चुका है, biotech boom आने वाला है. आज भी मैं यही सुन रहा हूँ, biotech boom आने वाला है, but still उस समय भी यही चल रहा था. I thought at least bio मुझे अच्छी लगती थी 12th में और 12th में मैंने नहीं ली. तो let's try biotech, and anyways अगर कुछ नहीं हो रहा होगा तो engineering की तो मतलब ये Infosys तो biotech वालों को भी ले ही लेती है, तो टेंशन नहीं.
Did you actually study biotech, or was it just a नाम का डिग्री के मजा नहीं आया पढ़ते वक्त?
Surprisingly, I loved it, and probably जब third year में internship हो रही थी, तो I was one of the only two people from the whole batch who went to a biotech specific internship. I mean biotech in terms of research. बाकी सारे production में गए, and some of them went to amazing places, which I hated them for doing, because one of them went to Jagatjeet Industries, and Jagatjeet Industries is essentially the one which makes aristocrat malt whiskey. So वहाँ पे he used to try everything and make those whiskeys. But the thing is, I was one of the two people who went to an internship in Piramal Life Sciences, probably close to your house. And that's something which was a game changer. कि भाई, there is a lot that can be done using research in biotechnology and which impacts lives. So I think I've taken the right decision, started that time. The second reason I think have taken the right decision came up was when family started thinking कि बंदा scientist हो गया है. So respect अलग level की बढ़ गई. Probably I think again,
But
hindsight.
scientists पैसा बनाते क्या?
I think इसीलिए दुनिया रिस्पेक्ट करती है कि वो पैसा नहीं बनाते पर बेचारे बहुत जोर लगाते हैं. So that's what I was coming to. कि साइंटिस्ट हो गया, काम करता रहेगा, पैसा पता नहीं आएगा कि नहीं. So that's the thing. I continued with biotech. I loved biotech, and I mean I in a way continued somewhere life sciences abhi bhi.
Awesome. So you didn't think of going abroad because I mean when I think about biotech, I can just like think of so many other countries who are doing cutting edge work there.
Correct.
So if you were so interested, why did you stay here?
So abroad was always an option, but never for me. But my sister, to be honest, I kind of was a black sheep of the family till the time I reached Excel. But my sister, she's IIT, Wharton grad, Deloitte and J&J and all of that. तो वो बाहर थी. तो मैं ये नहीं करूँगा जो उसने किया है. So that was not the reason, but I also thought that there is a lot of opportunity in India that we can do, and fortunately again, Piramal was some or one of the very few places which was actually doing basic research in India. Otherwise, koi bhi biotech mein, if you see, there is always something like a model that there is something happening in the West. Let's replicate that in our lab. Let's create an SOP and let's scale it up, because scaling up mein apan bahut sahi hai. But creation of something new, that's something I learned in Piramal, and I thought that there is a lot that can be done in.
तो exactly आप करते क्या थे Piramal में?
Piramal में, again, अब हर कोई जानता है, but I was actually trying to create vaccines. COVID ने मेरा नाम और बढ़ा दिया है, but ठीक है. So I was creating anti-cancer vaccines there, primarily targeting one of the viruses. The human papilloma virus is known to be very strongly correlated with cervical cancer. And we were trying to create vaccines जिसमें vaccine का memory response, again a lot of people now started knowing memory response क्या होता है versus B cell response क्या होता है. So we were trying to figure out along with the protein और क्या ऐसी चीज़ें डाल सकते हैं which are called adjuvants जो उसका memory response vaccine का ज़्यादा बढ़ाएंगे. Unfortunately मैं अपने time में नहीं कर पाया, but again we got some very amazing results. We were able to present it in world vaccine conferences and all, and पहली बार लाइफ में आई वेंट सरकारी खर्चे पे ट्रैवल टू जमैका, एंड जमैका वाज अगेन ऑसम. सो रिसर्च हेल्प्ड, बट अगेन प्रॉब्ली आई थिंक आई वाज नॉट कट आउट फॉर वही बिना पैसे के काम करते रहना. सो दैट्स हाउ बी स्कूल का थॉट केम.
So I mean I was about to come to that. Seems like a pretty interesting I mean, intellectually challenging and interesting thing to do. So why did you leave that and go to a business school?
Yeah, so two reasons. एक तो I asked around and B school में, to be very honest, just like Aviral, that time the only B schools that I knew from India were IIMs. Excel मुझे नहीं पता था. Was there because मैं तो biotech और research वाला आदमी था. The thing why I started thinking about B school was there was one guy in Piramal who was both a PhD and a MBA, and he was doing super well. And in terms of his thought process, and second in terms of the paisa that he was getting. So I thought that B school is probably a good way. The reason I started thinking about paisa was because Piramal mein I met in my opposite lab Melissa, and she's my wife now. तब मैंने girlfriend बनाया, तब सोचा कि भाई अब तो शादी करनी पड़ेगी तो पैसा कमाना पड़ेगा. पैसा कमाना है तो क्या करें, PhD कर सकते हैं, 4-5 साल लगेंगे, MBA करेंगे 2 साल में हो जाएगा, चलेगा. Let's try MBA, and again not try MBA. The mentor or the person who I looked up to was Manish Nerurkar, who was both a PhD and an MBA. So I thought that makes sense. The only thing I did not know that time was what will be my career path. And to be very honest, there is, if anyone has taken Excel ka interview, there is Dr. Abhijit, who is known to take very, if I say, candid interviews. And तब उन्होंने मुझे पूछा कि MBA करके करोगे क्या? तो मेरा again my thought process was so limited. मैं कहा अपनी lab का manager बनूंगा. So that was the only thought that I had कि मैं lab management करूँगा because I had seen just Manish. I had not seen the larger ecosystem what all can be done in an MBA. Yeah. So that's the reason I thought of MBA and I wanted to stick to healthcare.
So how did you choose Excel first? I mean, सबसे पहले तो if you didn't even know about it, so finally how did you end up going there?
So I filled up 3 forms, CAT, Excel and the NM का form. So the second Excel का form was in a way मेरे को push करके भराया था by the people जिनके साथ मैं पढ़ रहा था. तो there was a guy called Nabarun, he's in US now. तो thankfully उसने मुझसे भरवा दिया. तो मुझे again तब लगता था CAT कर सकते हैं and I was not confident at all कि CAT हो जाएगा, but try करते हैं. 1 साल नहीं तो अगले साल करेंगे, but CAT try करते हैं, Excel भी try करेंगे. And that's the thought that I.
You didn't have an age का worry at that time.
No,
you
no.
had already worked for a few years, and अभी और 1 साल CAT वापस अगर करना पड़ा तो.
जॉब तो चल ही रही है, टेंशन नहीं है. यही सोचा था. And I used to go only on weekend classes. तो जॉब चल रही है, यही चलती रहेगी. 1 साल और कर लेंगे, शादी 1 साल लेट हो जाएगी. That's okay. So that's the reason मैं B school के फॉर्म भरे. अब हुआ ये, I gave both the exams, CAT, Excel, NM. NM में रिजेक्ट हो गया. CAT में I got a decent score. But I screwed up in my Quant. So my CAT was, I think 99.49 percentile. But Quant में इतनी बुरी हालत थी, probably 72 percentile था, तो कहीं से कॉल ही नहीं आया, मैं गलत गई. तो फिर Excel का स्कोर आया, तो it was 99.86. So I thought, चलो कुछ तो होगा. Then the funny part is that, again, like I said, I've been thought of कि ये tension free रहता है, ज़्यादा जोर नहीं लगाता है पढ़ाई में. That's why parents. My mom, so CAT का स्कोर आया था, she was like अच्छा अच्छी बात है, but then Excel का स्कोर आया तो her reaction was वो इसका मतलब CAT तुक्का नहीं था. So so I said yeah बच गए भाई, इस बार तो हुआ है. And उसके बाद I was less worried because
you got mom's validation.
हाँ, in a way mom's validation and mama's validation and all of that, and I was less worried in clearing the interviews. Primarily because again I was told by the teachers क्योंकि तुम बायोटेक वाले हो, तुम्हारे को डाइवर्सिटी के नाम पे ही ले लेंगे, एक बार स्कोर ले आओ. So to be very honest, उसके बाद एक्सेल हो गया तो टेंशन नहीं थी.
Okay, so tell us about your time at Excel. How is it? Do you think it's like transformational in your career journey?
It was super. I mean, to be very very honest, so B schools are a major transformation in anyone's life. I'm sure Ankit you'll agree 100%. And it's like Aviral was saying, it's all about people. It's the peer group that you are around with. And Excel has one level up, is that Excel में कुछ और जमशेदपुर में करने को ही नहीं है. So you have to be around your peer groups, you have to ensure that you network with the right people in the right ways and build that camaraderie in very, very well, very great way, ताकि you build very, very long relationships. Another thing which helps from Excel is कि most of the CHROs that you see now are Excelers. तो एक बार तुम Excel में घुस गए तो तुम्हारा alumni network कहीं ना कहीं से तुम्हें placement दे ही देगा, अगर तुम्हारे से कुछ और नहीं हो पाए तो. That probably is one of the backing that I have कि मैं startups try कर पाता हूँ, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं एक CHRO को मैं जानता हूँगा, अप्लाई कर दूंगा भाई, कहीं तो लगवा दे.
So what is the most amazing Excel memory?
It's amazing, or the most wackiest thing that I've ever done in my life is fire breathing, and that I did at Excel. So there is this group at Excel called OMAXI, which is old
उसका full form बताओ पहले.
Which is the Old Monks Association at XLRI. And essentially, again, the reason of OMAXI being there is because Jamshedpur में कुछ और करने को नहीं है. So the idea is the teachers and the faculty also realize कि जो students pent up frustration और वो सब रखेंगे because of the week's पढ़ाई, उनको कहीं ना कहीं party करनी है. And they allowed this official, unofficial kind of a tag to this OMAXI things, party is called Wet Nights.
क्योंकि teachers को भी ultimately कहीं ना कहीं तो उनको भी दारू पीना है तो.
Correct. So OMAXI was essentially a traditional committee in Excel, which was to throw these parties, to organize these parties जहाँ DJ आता है, दारू होती है. And we were actually, our first entrepreneurship stint was OMAXI, because हमें pegs बेचने होते हैं अपने batchmates को, और we have to figure out कैसे मना करें अपने ही बैचमेट को कि फ्री में नहीं दूंगा, चाहे 15 रुपए दे के ले, बट पैसे तुझे देने ही पड़ेंगे. So that in a way started the entrepreneurship thought कि भाई there is a lot that can be done. And I tried replicating this in another committee, which is called Flix. And I was probably the part of the most informal committees in Excel, and one formal committee जिसमें कुछ ज़्यादा कर नहीं पाए हम, but informal में हर एक में था. So I was a part of Flix, which is the film lovers in XLRI. We used to get access, और तब तो anyways VPNs की टेंशन नहीं थी, तो हम torrent से डाउनलोड करके.
This is a time before Netflix.
Correct.
तो Flix को करना पड़ा जो करना पड़ा.
Correct. तो हम torrent डाउनलोड्स करके रात को कुछ 9 to 12 का शो अपनी क्लास में चलाते थे, where our batchmate used to come. And Umaxi की learning I took to Flix, and for the first time Flix में पॉपकॉर्न्स बेचने शुरू करे हमने. एंड अगेन 2 रुपए का पैकेट लेके 3 रुपए में बेचते थे, ज़्यादा महंगा नहीं. अगेन द रीज़न वॉज नॉट टू मेक मनी इन एनी वे. ऑल ऑफ द रीजंस फॉर उमैक्सी गेटिंग पेड दारू एंड फ्लिक्स हैविंग पेड पॉपकॉर्न वॉज टू फिगर आउट और चीज़ें कैसे डाल पाएँ, कि आज दारू डालिए, कल कॉकटेल बना के कुछ दे सकते हैं, डीजे के पैसे भी निकालने, वो सब के लिए होता था. और वन सेल्फिश रीज़न वॉज कि उमैक्सी वालों की दारू फ्री होती थी लाइफ के लिए. तो हमारे कमरों में हमें हमेशा बॉटल्स मिलती थी, क्योंकि वो हमने पिछली वेट नाइट के कोटे से निकाली होती थी. सो फ्लिक्स शुरू किया. फ्लिक्स में पॉपकॉर्न बेचने शुरू किए, वो अब चल रहे हैं. उमैक्सी में द टाइम व्हेन यू इंट्रोड्यूस द नेक्स्ट ईयर्स उमैक्सी, यू हैव टू डू समथिंग यूनिक एंड यू हैव टू क्रिएट अ शो आउट ऑफ इट. सो दैट्स द टाइम व्हेन एक दिन I know you know Harman and Karthik, my friends, and those are big bodybuilders and all. मैंने उन्हें कहा यार मेरे साथ एक बार छत पे आओ. I gave them 2 buckets of water. I took a sip of kerosene and I blew it on a candle to try how fire breathing करते हैं. And that's something that I did in the Maxi introduction night to our junior batch.
उसका कुछ वीडियो है कि नहीं?
उसका मेरा करंट फेसबुक प्रोफाइल पिक्चर वही है. क्योंकि ईशान, आई मीन वन ऑफ आवर अनदर क्लोज फ्रेंड्स, ही टुक अ वेरी गुड फोटोग्राफ, एंड उसके बाद मैंने कभी वो फोटो नहीं बदली, क्योंकि उससे ज़्यादा एक्साइटिंग चीज़ मैं कभी कर ही नहीं पाया.
Okay, no, I mean you are doing your startup. I don't think anything is that is real fire breathing.
Yeah, in a way, yes. Thanks.
So internship, where did you go?
So internship, I did that. I think Aviral was against, or in a way not joining consultings. I had to, because consulting firms were the only firms which were somewhere related to healthcare life sciences which were coming on campus. So internship I did at Cognizant, and that's the exposure I got to technology and life sciences combination. So there I did my internship, which was a mix of stints in Mumbai and Chennai. And in these consulting firms, the one-up that I had always was कि ये तो research background वाला आदमी है, इसको पता होगा research biotech में होता कैसे है. And therefore I created something called PAT in process technology application, something in implementation in a biotechnology drug development thing. And that won a second prize in the year's consulting competitions and all also. So yeah, so internship तो वहीं थी.
Okay, so then where did you finally get placed?
So like I said, the only target companies which healthcare life sciences focused people had were consulting firms, because tier 1 placement times पे non-consulting आ नहीं रही थी. And then I joined Deloitte Consulting. And again, fortunately that helped me put a stamp in my family कि भाई दीदी भी Deloitte में थी, ये भी Deloitte में, तो ठीक ही जा रहा होगा. So, but yeah, so
things
Deloitte,
we do for our family validation.
I know exactly, it's family valuation, right? So, but Deloitte was a very strong eye opener, helped me understand US में healthcare यहाँ से कितना different है. I got in their US India offices. The only thing that like I said, I did not want to do is go outside India. So probably we joined somewhere in April, and next year Feb में I got my H1B. और तब टेंशन शुरू कि बाहर नहीं जाना है, क्या करें? And that's when probably I put down my papers in March.
So you put down your papers because वो लोग तुमको US भेज रहे थे.
Correct. I did not want to go outside.
That's not a very regular
Yeah,
occurrence.
and when I tell कि मैं उसके बाद गया कहाँ, then it's even, I mean, it sometimes surprises me मैंने ये क्यों किया. So I had a friend who was running a startup, kind of a startup in social sector in Bihar. So I quit Deloitte and went to Bihar and joined that friend. और मैं पेड़ लगा रहा था गांव वालों के साथ मिलके, मुखिया and BDOs and all of those लोगों के साथ. So the whole idea was, it was not just a social startup, it was a social entrepreneurship venture where money was also expected, which was all about plantation of Pongamia pinnata trees, which Bangalore did a very, very good job. So most of the trees that you see, not the pink ones, those are beautiful. There are other smaller trees which you see on many of the dividers. Those are Pongamia pinnata trees. The idea was, that was a link to biotechnology as well, that Pongamia pinnata oil is very, very suitable to make biodiesel. And Jatropha had massively failed. So Jatropha, because it was not an indigenous variety to India, it had massively failed in terms of the seed production. So Pongamia was something that we thought will grow very well, and that business model was established. And we started working on Pongamia plantations across various villages in Bihar, linking it to Manrega because someone needed to maintain those trees. We wanted to figure out how to increase employment around the region in Bihar. There was a very dynamic DC who gave one full district in a way कि तुम मेरे district में try करो. Patna was not easily accessible, so we went to Munger and tried there and had some amazing experiences there.
Yeah, so I mean, before you go to those experiences, first of all, like, what is the mindset? Because you're like biotech guy, decides कि नहीं मुझे सिर्फ scientist नहीं रहना है, मुझे तो MBA करना है, manager बनूंगा lab का, so you enter MBA. Then after MBA, you get into a consulting firm. Then you get a chance to go to the US. Everything seems like, you know, okay, theek hai, that makes sense. And then suddenly you say no to that. And then you say, I will go and join a startup. Chalo, that also I can understand. Although I think 2012 में बहुत ज़्यादा लोग startups join नहीं करते थे. But you decided to join a startup, and not just any startup, a startup all the way into Bihar. I mean, it's not even like you went to Bangalore or Mumbai or Delhi. You said, I will go to Bihar and I will plant trees. So what was the mindset like? Like, what was the motivation? Was it a spur of the moment decision, or was it something very deeply thought कि नहीं मैं इंडिया का कोई बड़ा problem solve करने जा रहा हूँ? Like, what was the mindset at that time? So, because you didn't seem unhappy at Deloitte.
Yeah, it was not necessarily very strongly unhappy. The only reason was कि consulting में जो भी करते हो, you don't necessarily get to see the output. So that was my worry कि consulting में मेरी output क्या होगी? If I say stick to consulting for 7 years, and उसके बाद तुमने output क्या लाया? मैंने 50,000 slides बनाई हैं. So that's something that's not getting affected. And the challenge of consulting is that even if you consult a very good, if you are a part of a very good project, specifically strategy operations project, we don't see the implementation of our recommendation. So that's something that I thought, okay, let me again learn a little bit more. Consulting is never a closed door. And I had seen a lot of people rebound candidates coming to Deloitte and getting a lot of experience coming back. So consulting, I never thought that it'll be a closed door. The only thing was मुझे कुछ output देखना है जो मैं कर रहा हूँ. And that's something that, and the output was something which is somewhere related to my training, which is biotechnology. So that's something that pushed me to think on the biodiesel side of things. There was a digression during that time, but somewhere I had always thought कि मैं biotech की side पे कुछ ना कुछ करता रहूँगा. And consulting, I can always go back अगर things don't.
So did you take a pay cut at that time?
Oh yes, major pay cut. The whole idea was that तब तक भी again शादी नहीं हुई थी, and fortunately Melissa was not after me कि अभी कर लो because of Deloitte में and all. I said कि let me try some things. If they don't work out, give me a couple of years. Then we can figure out.
So what happened to that startup?
So that startup continued, and while planting Pongamia trees, we also realized so Pongamia grows on the non-arable or wastelands. So there was a lot of arable or good lands also in that area. We expanded our thought and we started growing fruit trees. We started planting fruit trees in those good regions. Now Pongamia ka we knew the forward linkage is biodiesel. What will happen to the fruit? So that's when I moved to Gurgaon and we started something called that time FoodPress, which was a fresh fruit juice kiosks thing.
So what happened to this company?
So this was continuing. It was
अच्छा ये company भी है और अभी एक नई company खुल दी.
नई company नहीं, उसी की subsidiary.
अच्छा उसी की subsidiary खोली,
which was subsidiary, which was FoodPress. So the idea was we will have forward linkages to whatever plantations we are doing in Bihar. And FoodPress में the people in Bihar, they stayed in Bihar.
So how much time did you spend in Bihar?
Almost a year.
So tell us about that.
So that was amazing. I mean, some of the.
I mean, we'll come to FoodPress, but Bihar में क्या किया आपने?
बिहार में तो again मुखिया जी को convince करना रोज सुबह क्या 4:30-5 बजे उठ के from Patna. Sometimes we used to stay in Patna, go to Begusarai, almost 6 hours drive, and meet many villagers, many village heads, many say bureaucrats, not at a high level bureaucrats, the village level or panchayat level bureaucrats to explain the schemes and all, or kahin pe we actually saw some amazing outcomes. But there have been experiences like when we used to stay in Begusarai, so the room that we took, usme, obviously Bihar had challenges. I'm not sure what's the situation now, but that time there were major electricity challenges and all. Raat ko light nahi aayegi, it was a given. And there was no backup and there was no generators and all available. So in our colony or whatever you say, that area, there was one guy who had one generator and you used to get एक bulb की light का तार from that generator guy in that night के रात को अगर तुम्हें कुछ काम करना है तो एक bulb जल जाएगा. That's the generator amount that you'll get. And कितने कपड़े पहन के तुम्हें गर्मी लगेगी, accordingly you sleep. So that's the whole idea. But that was again very amazing learning that that helped me understand what are the challenges that are there in the ground level in India. And affordability and things have been always one, and we've been trying to solve that from whatever we've been doing now. But Bihar mein, again, there were times when उस समय I used to again weekend parties तो permanent चल रही थी, तो we had to move to sometimes pouches and things like that क्योंकि दारू भी नहीं मिल रही थी, bottled वाली and things. So those are the kind of experiences that I like. बाकी we have seen places where 2 दिन पहले रोड बनी है, 2 दिन बाद जाओगे तो वहाँ पे some bomb blast happened just to break the road so that transportation cannot be done. And that experiences we have also seen, the Lal Jhande and all those things. But because we were actually working for development on ground, we had no fear. कि टेंशन नहीं है, ये लोग काम करते हैं, इनको काम करने दिया जाए. Those are the things that also we've seen in Bihar.
I feel like, you know, people talk about, have you seen the movies for this?
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the movies for this? So people say, na, oh, you know, I had my Swadesh moment. A lot of people who come from abroad. और मैं बोलता हूँ यार भाई बाहर से लोगों को यहाँ लाने की जरूरत क्या है? यहाँ के लोगों का भी स्वदेश moment होता है every time you go in India itself, right?
Correct.
And I'm sure that like what you would have seen in that 1 year, I'm sure I would say 99.9% of your batchmates and all other MBA grads who graduated in the same year would not have got a chance to see that.
Probably, yes. And I thank my roommate from XL. He had started that startup to give me that opportunity. And we continued with FoodPress after that. Yeah.
Awesome. So what happened to FoodPress and?
So it was going well, but there was kind of a fallout with the larger family of Greenleaf Energy, the parent company, and we thought that let's part ways amicably. Why worry? We are friends. Let's part ways, and we parted ways. And that's when my actual full-time kind of, completely started from scratch. Things started because FoodPress mein we were selling fruit juices to corporates, and we realized there is a large need of those corporates from the salad side, or because हर कोई हमें juice के time बोलता था कि fruit bowl है, we said नहीं है. So salads and things like that, we thought there is a large need, and probably again one of the very first cloud kitchens in India we started, which was Salad Days, which was again 2013 time, where We had no outlet because utne paise nahi the. It was a bootstrapped thing. And we had a kitchen in a very small place. जिससे we were taking orders either on phone or on Facebook. The first time Facebook ordering had just come. Zomato also came to us and they said कि हम आपको सिर्फ list कर सकते हैं, ordering तो आपको खुद ही generate करनी होगी. Zomato did not have the online ordering kind of or delivery things. And we became the first kind of a cloud kitchen in India.
So which city was that?
It was in Gurgaon. And I was responsible for the operations of it. So because FoodPress mein I had set up the complete inflow of the raw material and all of that. Same thing I did at Salad Days. The challenge was FoodPress mein thoda paisa tha, yahan pe paisa nahi hota tha, so morning mein I used to get up, take a big backpack, fill almost 20 kgs of, go to maybe 40 kilometers far, get to a mandi, take 20-25 kgs on my back, get to my kitchen staff, unko deta tha, and then we had a few delivery boys and one of my batchmate, one senior from Excel, we were all there. There were a couple of people who had also, two batchmates from Excel and one senior, and a couple of other people who had come from Greenleaf Energy. We all started this together and it was super. So the only thing was we realized that quality is something that we need to ensure, and quality is what we were giving, and we were growing at a decent pace.
So how does your biotech, did your biotech brain feel like कि इसको मैं productize कर देता हूँ, ये क्या रोज मंडी में?
Biotech brain worked in some places, for example, in washing of fruits, we bought ozonizers to ensure there is no pesticides, there is no microbes, and there were specific cleaning things that we used to do, which I don't think a lot of kitchens would be thinking in those lines. And that was all my actually Piramal experience के हम lab का space किस तरह साफ करते हैं so that there is no microbe infecting my cells. The same thing, I should ensure that the food that goes in my customer's mouth is having zero microbes or zero allergens and things like that. So those are the things which we implemented at Salad Days. Yeah.
And like कितने salad बेचे?
बहुत बिक रहे हैं, अभी भी बिक रहे हैं. I parted ways there as well, but बिक रहे हैं salad. I used to deliver around 3 to 4 in a day myself. The thing was, it was starting to get profitable. The only thing was it could not sustain 3 XLRs, right? 4 XLRs. So, and that's when the family and pressure started to come कि भाई अब तो उम्र हो रही है, अब तो settle हो जाओ, अब शादी कर लो. And that's when I thought कि again let's leave Salad Days as well.
So, I mean, the company still exists,
The company
just
still
that you are
exists.
not part of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But you were the founding member of that.
I was the founding member. The company
Awesome.
still exists. So we realized there is a major gap and there is a major need to train the right kind of people. And that was again an amazing kind of an entrepreneurial experience where I in fact went to different banks, tried to understand कि ये क्या कहते हैं, this Prime Minister skilling yojana and things like that had started. उसके अंदर इन students बेचारों को loan कैसे दिला सकते हैं. I actually sat in bank with bank managers, looked at their old historical circulars and found one जिनके अंदर उनको collateral free loan मिल जाएगा. And that's when the first center started with 12 people and some of them now are in even Canada. That was amazing कि एक X-ray technician बन के कोई Canada चले गया है, कोई कहीं major Max hospital में लगा हुआ है and things like that.
So you also became an education entrepreneur
in a way. Yeah, in a way, educational social entrepreneur, but
an intrapreneur.
Entrepreneur, but हाँ, entrepreneur because I was being paid by G, तो tension नहीं थी पैसा कहाँ से आ रहा है.